Welcome back, everyone, to our PAL Gaming's and Pokemon Last sponsored Kingdom Challenge Sunday. We're heading into round 2 here. I am once again Jesus Coronel here, and alongside me is the emotional support Pikachu. We're heading into round 2 after back and forth round 1 we just experienced between Jacob and Ian. We're gonna have round 2 on the underway here. We're seeing rain already pop up. We've seen Palafin pop up. We've seen both sides of the Gyarados, both sides of the Fluttermane. And the Garchomp that was unfortunately not supposed to do well with that choice scarf. Actually, I'm not gonna do that. Anyway, we're heading around to we got Oscar Gill and we got Abhyu Vatsavai here. And I'm looking at their team sheets and it looks like it's gonna be a pretty close matchup between these two players, and I wonder if we're gonna see anything interesting from both these sides, because I see some similar Pokemon in these teams. But the only thing common is just one Pokemon. Other than that, every Pokemon is different. 5 Pokemon different, 1 the same. If you guess which one's the same, be my yes, because I think a lot of you might know that answer. The music's being set up by Abhyu. I wonder what the records are right now, because unfortunately we cannot see the records with both these players between Abhyu and Oscar Gill. And here we go. Abhyu with a team of King Gambit, Fluttermane, Amoonguss, Garchomp, Rotom Wash, and Talonflame. Meanwhile, Oscar Gill with Arcanine, Arcanine, Gothitelle, Fluttermane, Tinglu, Annihilate, and the Screamtail. Again, both of these Pokemon, they're like 10 different unique Pokemon, and then they're the Fluttermanes. So a lot of these teams are very similar in power with each other, but we see that Abhyu has a more offensive-oriented team, while Oscar Gill has a more defensive orientation with the Tinglu, Gothitelle, the Screamtail, and the Annihilate, alongside that Intimidate on the Arcanine. But Arcanine has to be a little bit careful when we Intimidate. That King Gambit does have Defiance, the most common ability it has, because we sadly did not see Supreme Overlord or Pressure come up in any of these games that King Gambit's ever been involved in, which it's a shame, really, because Supreme Overlord is a super cool ability. It's just super weak in practice, because the power multiplier never ends up being good. And as I'm saying this, we are heading into our first game of round 2 between Abhyu and Oscar. I wonder what both these leads are going to be. Oscar with a defensive team, Abhyu with an offensive team. Let's go ahead and see the leads come out from both these players. We see Gothitelle and Arcanine come out from Oscar, and Abhyu with Garchomp and Talonflame, the tried and true for every Garchomp player. But Intimidate will be lowering the Garchomp's power as well as the Talonflame. Tailwind is likely to come out from this Talonflame because that Gale Wing's ability, making any flying type movement has priority move while it has full HP. It is going to be a Tailwind coming in from Abhyu. It looks like we saw an Earthquake as well. Earthquake, a lot of damage coming in from that Garchomp, because even though it's intimidated, fun fact, if Garchomp is Terra Ground, well, we're not going to see that coming. Fake out coming. Critical hit onto the Garchomp too, but Rob's going to go ahead and get some residual damage onto the Garchomp. Will flinch though, and here's the Tailwind coming in from the Talonflame. What does the Arcanine do here? With this turn that it gets from fake out the Arcanine, goes for the Will-O-Wisp, and I think it missed the Garchomp, and it did! 85 accuracy is a lie. You want to see an accurate move? Go ahead and chalk the Will-O-Wisp, because never an accurate move. It either works or it doesn't work. It's like a lot of Pokemon these days. And with that turn setback, Earthquake's still going to be doing a lot of damage to that Arcanine. It will not get the one-hit knockout unless it's Terra Ground exactly, because the Intimidate actually will put it into a range where it will be missing one-hit knockouts a lot against Arcanines unless they're offensive-oriented or they Terrasilize away from that Flyer type. And we're going to see Terrasalization come out. It is going to be from Oscar, though. Will it be the Arcanine or will it be the Gothitelle? It's going to be the Arcanine, and we will see the Terrasalization into the Water type. Doesn't want to take any super effective damage from that Earthquake wisely to avoid that weakness, and probably will take a lot less damage with that Intimidate. Now, Braver, the choice here from Abhyu. Going to hit a critical hit back into the Arcanine. Going to hit go 50% of his health. Take some recoil in the process. Here goes an Earthquake. Will be floating away from the Talonflame because of that flying type. Earthquake, not enough to knock out the Arcanine, but comes very close. Will-O-Wisp will connect finally onto the Garchomp. It's 50-50 after all. One miss, one hit. And now Garchomp's burned, and we do not see a Lumberry at all. Here goes Energy Ball from the Gothitelle. That's interesting. Go ahead and do a bit more damage onto the Garchomp from Abhyu. And Oscar really is in a weird position because as much damage as he's doing to Arcanine, I wonder if he has enough to do damage to the Gothitelle here, because Gothitelle's pretty specially bulky, but I mean, it's very bulky, but if you're taking double attacks for this Talonflame and the Garchomp, who knows if you're going to take a double hit. That Earthquake will be a guaranteed knockout of the Arcanine unless it swaps out, which is likely to happen. So, as much as he got the burn to get on the Garchomp and stick it, but who knows if it's actually going to pay out in the long term, because if this Garchomp does not wreak a lot of havoc onto the battlefield, it will not end up mattering. We do see Arcanine switch out from Oscar. What will be coming in for that slot? It will be Flutter Mane. The burn will matter for the damage output against Flutter Mane, as we're going to see it come out. Here goes a Brave Bird once again into the Flutter Mane. That -1. Ooh, good enough. Damage should not do half damage. And here comes another Earthquake. Burn at -1. Talonflame once again avoids the attack because of the flying type. Gets Flutter Mane down to half HP. Loses more health with that Life Orb. And activates the Citrus Berry from the Gothitelle. That Shadow Tag is actually proving to be very annoying against Abhyu, because Gothitelle's keeping both these Pokemon trapped. Here comes the Psychic coming into the Talonflame. Takes a good amount of damage, and Flutter Mane's still in a very dangerous position because Talon's still up for Abhyu. The Gothitelle's really not in a great spot. The Flutter Mane, if it doesn't have Protect, will be in danger, so it's the risk Oscar wanted to play to get that Nutter Intimidate. He might just do it here, but no, he's willing to take another Brave Bird. It will be a knockout on the Flutter Mane, so Flutter Mane once again is going to do no damage at all. Sad day for Flutter Mane at all. Sad day. Really sad day. Earthquake coming in. Once again, not going to hit the Talonflame. Into the Gothitelle it goes. How much damage will this do? Oh, not a lot. Takes more damage from that Life Orb. Psychic comes in, will probably get the knockout on the Talonflame here, really that range, and it will get the knockout on the Talonflame. Down it goes. No more flying type attacks. No more Tailwind setup for the next of the game. Garchomp still taking a decent amount of damage from the burn, but will Tailwind run out here? It does run out here just in time. Or was it too late? We may never know. We do see the rest of Pokemon from Abhyu. We do see King Gambit and Flutter Mane come out on his side, and King Gambit is the choice. Probably wants to catch the Arcanine by surprise. And he does get the Arcanine by surprise, so even though this Garchomp will fall to -2 attack, Arcanine's going to try to intimidate the King Gambit, but it does activate the Define because an opponent lowered a stat, so it will raise its attack by 2 stages, going up to +1. King Gambit in a very comfortable position, but it's still susceptible to a Will-O-Wisp, even though this Garchomp is not in a great spot because of its severe damage reduction. We do see a potential Translation coming out from the King Gambit here to flying, you know, get a guaranteed Earthquake off, maybe get the knockout on the Arcanine and don't worry about it later. But no Translation is going to come out. Here's a Dragon Claw. Wow, that is very little damage, and Arcanine gets to live another turn. Goes for the Morning Sun, gonna go ahead and heal half his health. Increases survivability further. Here goes an Energy Ball. Oh, Energy Ball into the King Gambit. Not gonna do a lot of damage with that Assault Vest item onto the King Gambit. Here goes the Kowtow Queen. Gonna be super effective damage onto the Gothitelle. Will be a knockout. No more Shadow Attack in play, so Garchomp's now free to switch out when it can. After it takes another turn of burn damage, and likely we'll have 1 turn left to attack based on that Life Orb that it already went through. But that Arcanine is proving a little bit annoying right now. King Lu, the last Pokemon for Oscar. Gonna use that Vessel of Ruin to roll with the special attack of all Pokemon in play, other than Tinglu. However, none of these Pokemon right now are special attackers, other than the Flutter Mane in the backfield for Abhyu. And yeah, now you gotta consider the Terra because you are very afraid of Fisher. Fisher has somehow taken over to be the best move, one of the best moves Tinglu could ever use, because the potential to one-hit knock out anything in the game, alongside a great beneficial factor of not being able to get the benefit of not doubling Stomping Tantrum's power to 150 if it misses, which by the way is a thing. It's very crazy because we're gonna see the Terra Flying come in. Here's an Earthquake, will be avoiding, so this will, I mean, actually no, it's not gonna do enough damage to the Arcanine. How little damage? Very little damage to the Tinglu. Does it get knocked out by its own Life Orb? It does, so whatever attacks went to the Garchomp now get redirected to the King Gambit. Howl coming in, and now it's gonna boost the attack of both Tinglu and the Arcanine by 1 stage. But again, if it was a ground move into the King Gambit, it may not be a good time to use it. Here goes a Terra Blast at +1. Going ahead and target our Arcanine. Will it be a knockout? It will be. It's going to be a potential 2v1 now. Now it's 1v1 between King Gambit and the Tinglu right now. But what did the Tinglu do? Did he go for a potential ground move, potentially the Fisher? He goes for the Ruination. Going to go ahead and cut King Gambit's HP down in half. But we do see a Flutter Mane in the back, and Terrestrialization has been used up, so as much as this Vessel of Ruin is going to be beneficial to the Tinglu survivability, Flutter Mane still going to output a lot of damage, and we do see a booster energy coming in from the Flutter Mane. The booster multiplier will go to special attack, so we know this is not a speed investment onto the Flutter Mane, so Moonblast is going to be doing a lot of damage, and we're going to see another Terra Blast come in. Here's Moonblast first, do a lot of damage to that Tinglu. Even through that Vessel of Ruin, here comes a Terra Blast, Flying type, physical attack at +1. Will it be doing enough damage? It won't. Tinglu has another chance to attack. He's going to go for the Heavy Slam into the Flutter Mane. Will it be a knockout? It will be very easily. That will 1v1 between King Gambit and the Tinglu. However, Tinglu is not outspeeding King Gambit because 2 turns in a row it never did. So King Gambit likely to get the knockout on Oscar's Tinglu, and this will probably be the end of game 1 and go into Abyu's favor. Overall, great game played out by both players. Such a great way to see King Gambit go into use, catching that Arcanine off the switch in after the KO, and Tinglu goes down. Game 1 to Abhyu. The adaptation that Oscar may need to do, I mean, he was doing pretty good to start the game, and then the Garchomp, again, just ended up doing too much damage even through the Will-O-Wisp and the burn. Also, the turn 1 miss for Will-O-Wisp from that Arcanine onto the Garchomp was a little unfortunate because that Earthquake actually did a lot more damage than Oscar would have wanted to take, knowing that it would have crippled the Garchomp heavily. But also, no Annihilate, no Screen Tail came in. It's very interesting also to see that Gothitel's carrying Energy Ball. I wonder if he's worried about any Palafin teams that may have been worrying him from the beginning. And so we're going to see both players going into the team preview in game 2. Once again, the teams for each side. Abhyu on your screen. You have King Gambit, Flutter Mane, Amoonguss, Garchomp, Rotom, and Talonflame. For Oscar, we have Arcanine, Gothitelle, Flutter Mane, Tinglu, Annihilate, and Screamtail. Screamtail has been an interesting pick. In most these days, we often know the Pokemon for winning Wolf, the biggest regional in history in Orlando with Perish Song. But this doesn't look like a Perish Song team, even though there's a Gothitelle in play, because even if it did have Perish Song, what would be the benefits of using Perish Song in a high damage meta, right, like this one, as both players locking the Pokemon relatively quickly. So as we get into game 2, round number 2, Abhyu needs one more game to close out the set. Oscar needs to win the force game 3. We're gonna go straight into the battle, and Oscar will be the leadoff man here for this game. Oscar, go ahead and lead Gothitelle Flutter Mane, so he wants more damage output than the last time. Here's Talonflame Rotom going to be the lead. Switch up from both players. Game 1, there was an Arcanine for Oscar, now it's a Flutter Mane. Abhyu had a Garchomp, now it's a Rotom. Adaptations are very interesting here from both these players. The Rotom, I wouldn't know if it's in a great spot because that Energy Ball will be threatening super effective damage onto it, even though it has decent defenses. But there's also going to be a Fake Out into the Talonflame, but knowing how popular Fake Out is, oh, the Fake Out does go on the Rotom though. Here's a Tailwind setup for Talonflame, potentially maybe reading a Covert Cloak item onto the Talonflame. I mean, Rotom a little flinch here. Flutter Mane's actually going slower here. Going to go for the Thunderbolt onto the Talonflame. Will make a one-hit knockout. And when you see Thunderbolt, you have to assume a choice item because most Flutter Manes don't run choice items. I mean, actually, my mistake. Flutter Manes don't run Thunderbolt if they're not choiced. King Gambit will come in for the following Talonflame. It will be outspeeding the Gothitelle without a problem, but this Flutter Mane is going to become an issue if it goes out of hand here, so King Gambit might have to choose his target carefully, as the Rotom is now being threatened by a potential super effective Energy Ball from the Gothitelle. Even the Thunderbolt from the Flutter Mane might be doing enough damage, so it might have to consider seeing that Volt Switch on the screen, and we see the Flutter Mane switch out. Arcanine could be very detrimental here. It also could be, oh, it's going to be Annihilate actually. In it comes, and a more defensive Pokemon, Hydro Pump is going to connect onto the Annihilate. How much damage will it do? Almost half. Here goes an Iron Head into the Annihilate slot. Ooh, almost gets a one-hit knockout. The combination attack. Here's the Energy Ball, going to go straight into the Rotom, doing over half damage. You see leftovers come in from the Annihilate, and Annihilate's already taken 2 hits already, powering up its Rage Fist attack, its signature move, which increases in power the more you're hit. So the Rotom's not in a comfortable spot, but it is able to knock out the Annihilate should it choose to. And I instead just going to go for the protect, get more leftovers recovery, maybe have the Gothel set up something a bit better. Here's Thunderbolt coming in into the Annihilate Protect. What did the King Gambit do here? I think there's only 2 turns left to Tailwind. Here comes the Cat-Tao Cleave into the Toffatel. How much damage will it do? Oh, not quite a one-shot. Will eat that Citrus Berry. Will get 25% of his health back. Trying to get itself in a much more comfortable position here. Energy Ball once again going to go on a Rotom. This might pick up a knockout here, and it does. So Abhyu now down 2 Pokemon after losing the Talonflame to Rotom pretty quickly. And now they're going to get more HP recovery out the leftovers. And, well, again, King Gambit can knock out both these Pokemon, but if Tailwind goes away, maybe a problem. And not going away anytime soon, and here comes the Flutter Mane. Abayu's last 2 Pokemon in play, but he has 1 turn left to play with the speed control that he has against the Annihilate. We do see a Flutter Mane as well from Oscar that's already been revealed to be a choice against a Thunderbolt. Once again, the special attack booster coming in and play without the booster energy, activating that photosynthesis. Dazzling Gleam may be a safe play here, but not for Abhyu. He's going to go for something different. He's going for that Shadow Ball. Trying to get guaranteed single target damage, unlike Dazzling Gleam, which could be a bit weirder to use against spread damage, where if you see an Arcanine switch in, which would be very dangerous to switch in front of King Gambit, but if it does switch in there, it may prove to be great against the Flutter Mane when we go for a Fairy type attack, so maybe a good read for Abayu's part in trying to secure this game. He's still in a good spot because this Flutter Mane's threatening damage, his King Gambit's threatening damage. Oh, King Gambit's pretty specially bulky with the Assault Vest item, and here goes the Shadow Ball. Annihilate doesn't even protect here, so it's just going to take itself and go down here. Shadow Ball doing enough damage, take it out, and Oscar now down to a Gothitelle, which probably will be knocked out too. And yep, there it is, the Cat-Tao Cleave. There it is, and down it goes. Oscar down to his last 2 Pokemon. We do know one of them is a choice item Flutter Mane. What is his last Pokemon? Will it be the Tinglu? Will it be the Arcanine? Or will it be the Screamtail? As Tailwind does go away. So Flutter Mane, depending on how these Flutter Mane are trained, it may be Oscars that has the advantage, knowing that we've seen, it's an Arcanine once again, Intimidate, gonna be backfiring in front of the King Gambit because it was an opponent using a stat drop, gonna go ahead and find a way that attack drop into an attack boost. The Intimidate also gonna do nothing to the Flutter Mane, but King Gambit might be forced to Terastallize, and if that gets red with that Flutter Mane having a Thunderbolt, will the Flutter Mane for Oscar go for the Thunderbolt? We do see a Terastallization start. I mean, Sucker Punch, if you know the Flutter Mane's choice, Sucker Punch is a pretty safe play to go for, especially a +1 attack. So unless the Flutter Mane goes into Terastallizing a Fairy, which is his most common Terastallization, it may not take in the Sucker Punch very well. Here comes the first Terastallization of game number 2. Abhyu gonna go ahead and Terastallize that King Gambit once again into the Flying type to avoid potential this makes it dangerous for Oscar's Flutter Mane to go for Thunderbolt instead of a Moonblast, which would probably be the better play. No, we don't see the Thunderbolt come out. We don't see anything come out from the Arcanine as well. We do see a Sucker Punch KO the Flutter Mane in 1 hit. The defense is not the rest in the world. Here's a Shadow Ball coming into Oscar's Arcanine. How much damage will this be doing? It will be doing less than half damage. Will-O-Wisp does connect on the King Gambit, but this might be too little too late. The damage has been done. Oscar's down to his last Pokemon. That Arcanine has to solo a King Gambit and a Flutter Mane. The Flutter Mane's already been outspeeding the Arcanine here. King Gambit does have guaranteed damage with that Terra Blast and with that Cat-Tao Cleave. Shadow Ball is the only option left for Abhyu to do any sort of good damage because of that Fairy Terra. I mean, because of the Fire typing, resisting Fairy. But it's going to be a very bad position for Oscar to come back from because even if, well, actually, this might be game over now that I think about it. Oscar doesn't have great damage output. Like, Flare Blitz will be knocking out the Flutter Mane in 1 hit, but I don't think it's going to be doing enough damage to the King Gambit because it Terastallized away from the Steel type. We do see a Terra from the Arcanine going to go ahead and get rid of that Fire type for that Water type, losing that Fairy Resist. We do see Shadow Ball come in from the Flutter Mane. We did see do less than half. He's going to put it down to the red. Here's the Morning Sun going to try to stall out the game more than he can, but once again, I just think this is too little too late now. We do see Terra Blast come in at +1 physical attack. Now, here comes the Whirlwinds into the Arcanine. Not going to be enough damage, but Shadow Ball perfectly in range. This, I believe, ladies and gentlemen, is game over. I just don't see a way Abhyu comes back from this. I mean, Oscar for coming out and winning this game. I think Abayu's got it locked. Here's the Moonblast. That's the set. Abhyu wins 2-0. And Oscar is gonna go down there in the losers desk. We're gonna see Abhyu take a comfortable 2-0 win, winning round 2 of this gym challenge number 8. What a game! This comes to show you sometimes the old tried and true. You don't need a ruined Pokemon to win the game, but at the same time, Abhyu's team is so offensive that it just looked so easy for Abhyu to just be the aggressor with that tailwind setup with Gale Wings to get the speed advantage from the beginning, make sure your Flutter Mane was able to get your attacks off, make sure your Garchomp gets your attacks off, and it just left Oscar in a very uncomfortable position where if he didn't get any of his defensive plays going, it just would not work out in his favor at all, because as much as your defensive teams can run through the offensive team, sometimes offense is your best defense, because if you get enough damage onto the opposing team's Pokemon, you just get a lot of damage going, and just never gonna see the light of day again for the rest of the game. So that's gonna do it for round 2. We're gonna be going on break now. We're gonna be waiting round 3, so stay tuned and don't go anywhere, because this Pikachu doesn't want you to see you leave. Let's be real.